This is our 186th, or is it the 187th? I don't know if I changed my number. So that's up for grabs. It's either 186 or 187 gathering for faith leaders across the country. This gathering is called Courageous Leadership, and it's sponsored by ELCA's coaching ministry. I'm Jill Beverlin. I use the pronouns she, her, and I'm the director of coaching for the ELCA and one of your facilitators today. Our ministry has an intentional connection to the truth and healing movement of the ELCA. And with this, we always begin our time together by offering a land acknowledgement. So with this, I want you to know that I'm speaking with you from my home on the Fox River in Appleton, Wisconsin, which is the ancestral homelands of 5 nations of Native Indigenous peoples: the Menominee tribe, the Ho-Chunk Winnebago tribe, the Potawatomi tribe, the Oneida tribe, and the Stockbridge-Munsee Band of Mohicans and the Brothertown community. I honor and respect the diverse Indigenous peoples connected to this land on which I live. And because we understand that all land is Indigenous land, I now invite each of you to name in the chat the Indigenous peoples or tribal nations who were the first to love and care for the lands and places where you are located. Along with this, it is important that we acknowledge all of our Indigenous siblings who continue to care for this land and call it their home. And if you are Indigenous, we invite you to name your people or tribal nation in the chat feature now so that we may see you more fully in this virtual space. And friends, we gather together committed to creating a safer and braver space in these gatherings where we are able to bring the truth of who we are and how we are doing. And with all of this said, we proclaim that these conversations are meant to be an intentional step to live more fully into God's dream for us as the body of Christ. So again, welcome. We are so glad that you are here. We typically begin with a time of centering, but today I'm jumping right into introducing our guest speaker because what she will be doing with us will include components of centering and reflection. And I believe for many of us, this will be a new way of engaging and thinking about these disciplines. So with that, I was introduced to Heather. And Heather, I didn't ask you how to say your last name correctly. Is it Egts?
Yeah,
Egts?
it's X,
okay.
like the letter.
Okay. I was introduced to Heather through one of our faithful participants, Kristen Kaur-Rod, who is the Director for Evangelical Mission of the Northeastern Iowa Synod, and truly one of the best connectors and builders of ministry and creative thinkers that I know. And so as you might have read in the invitation that Jason sent to all of us, Heather is a certified spiritual coach. She is a breathwork facilitator and a sound healer committed to sharing this information and tools that have transformed her life from confusion and chaos to one of ease, calm, and flow, including when she encounters large rocks and even boulders in the midst of the river of life. So when you read this, maybe you, like me, said, well, I need some of that. So I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your talents with us. We are excited to learn with and alongside you this day. Welcome to this space, Heather.
Oh, thank you so much. So I'd first like to start, I saw in the chat, I think it was from Christine, that her husband was in a bike accident over the weekend. And so I would just like to pause, because I'm sure you guys know her. I do not, but just pause. And if it feels good to you, I would encourage you to hold your hands out and just send her some love, or however you send love. Let's send Christine some love, because wow. Oh my goodness. So just, Christine, I would love for you to just feel that in whatever way that you need to in this moment. Just everyone taking some nice deep breaths in and sending you so much love and whatever you need in this moment and going forward. Feeling held, feeling supported, feeling love. Invite you to take some nice nourishing breaths in if that feels good. Welcoming all emotions. This is a very safe space. I felt it when I first came in. So any and all emotions, they're all here for a reason. I invite you to just allow them to be. As we hold you in love and grace. Invite everyone to take a nice, deep, nourishing breath in with the nose. And then release. Thank you. When that feels complete, go ahead and open your eyes and join me back in the stream. Taking your time. And I thank you for that. Yeah, life has definitely been lifey in different ways for, I'm sure, all of us. So, yeah, my name is Heather Egts, and yes, I have had lots and lots and lots of lifey things happen for me. Actually, I fully believe that everything that I have gone through, navigated in life has actually been for me, even if at the time, oh boy, it was rough, right? But at the end, when I got through it, it was like, oh, wow, I made it through that tunnel. And here's the other side. And it felt so good every time to get out on the other side. But boy, let me tell you, it can be hard finding that other side and finding that resilience to get through. And so that's something that I'm hoping to share with you, is that that's part of the nervous system, is building that capacity, that resilience that helps you be able to navigate those things for yourself, but also to be able to hold space for others as they are navigating life alongside you, right? So that's kind of my overarching goal. Um, I tend to be very inspired when I speak. And so I have some notes and some things that I want to share. I have books open and all the things. And so hopefully I'm divinely guided and the information lands however is meant for it to land for you in this moment and in this time. So with that being said, I am going to share a sound and I'm going to walk you through a brief guided meditation. It's a meditation I learned that's kind of connecting us to source through a channel of light that is, if you are able to visualize a channel of light going from source or God all the way through your body, the center of your body, down and out your feet. So if you're able to, some of you might be visualizers and you can actually see that, you might feel it. However you experience this meditation is exactly how you are meant to experience it. The goal is not to force to find that channel of light in you. That's not the goal. The goal is to find calm and feel more connected to source, but also to our earthly beings, because I feel like that is something that is missed. A lot of times we're in the head, we're busy, 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 and we might be connected to God in our busy, 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 but we forget to bring it into our bodies and down into the ground where we're more present, if that makes any sense. And so with that being said, let me share some sound. Okay, so I invite you guys to find a nice, comfortable seat, maybe taking a little bit of wiggles and placing your feet firmly on the ground. I invite you to take a nice, deep, nourishing breath in through the nose and then simply release through the mouth. We're going to take a few more of those deep, nourishing breaths in through the nose and then out through the mouth. One more deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And now I would like to encourage you to just take natural breaths, continuing to breathe a nice deep breath as inviting you to close your eyes and noticing this beautiful light from the heavens, from Source, from God, any color that you would like. I invite you to notice this light flowing over your head. And as it touches your head, I invite you to allow that space to soften. While continuing to breathe, allowing this light now to touch your forehead, allowing that space to soften. It's like a shower of light, so allowing this light to shower down your cheeks, allowing that space to gently soften, inviting you to drop your jaw and your tongue, breathing ease. Beautiful. Continuing to breathe, allowing that light to shine down your throat, opening that space so that you can courageously speak your truth and your wisdom. Taking a nice deep breath in and clearing out with a breath. Beautiful. Allowing that light to shine down on your shoulders, allowing your shoulders to drop and soften into the surface beneath you, and allowing that light to travel down your elbows, your wrists, fingers. Beautiful. Continuing to breathe in. If it feels good, I invite you to breathe in that beautiful, nourishing light, allowing it to nourish every cell in your body as you breathe. Sending that light to your heart space if that feels good. Inviting you to place your hands on your heart, bringing attention and awareness to that space. Breathing in love, light, allowing the light to continue down to your torso, allowing your torso to soften, down your bottom, allowing your bottom to soften into surface beneath you. There. Continuing to breathe in. It feels good breathing in that beautiful, nourishing light as you continue to allow your body to soften into this time and space. Now down to your thighs, knees. Continue to invite you to do a little shake. Shake any kind of nervous energy out of your bodies. Feels good shaking the fingers, shaking the toes as you continue to breathe. There. Allowing the light to flow down from your head, now all the way down to the toes. Invite you, this light surround you like a beautiful flourishing bubble as you continue to just breathe in, sending this energy to this loving energy, this God energy, this source energy, sending it to every cell in your body, filling your body with love and light, allowing your body to soften into this light, feeling held. And whenever you are ready, I invite you to wiggle your fingers and your toes, coming back to this tiny space. There you go. Yeah, don't want that. I see all of you. Yay. Mm. So hopefully everyone thumbs up if that is you're feeling a little bit more calm and relaxed. And even if you're not, that is perfectly fine too. Like if you're still like a bottle of nerves, that is perfectly fine too, right? Doesn't always land that way, but know that even if you are still kind of like, you still got something out of that. So let's get into it because I see it's already 1:19. So our nervous system, our nervous system is so important. And I feel like it's something that should be like almost a semester in a class because there is so much information for our nervous system. So I'm really kind of distilling it into very simplistic terms. So hopefully it's a little easier to digest because I know I've read a lot on it and it's still really, it's so interconnected and so complex. So the goal is to help understand how your nervous system impacts your ability to show up as the leader that you would like to be. Because when we're regulated, we're able to hold that space. We're calm, we're feeling nourished. And so we don't necessarily always answer from the mind. We can answer from the body. Oh, that is something most people probably don't know. So your body has wisdom in it and that I love to unlock. And so a lot of times we are in our heads and our heads kind of feel like this. It's really fast paced and it's I got to do this. I got to do this. Can you feel that? Thumbs up if you felt that energy from me, right? Really busy, really active. And it's a really hard place to make decisions from. It's a reactive energy versus an intentional energy. And so when we're in our bodies, and so I'm trying to get more in my body, notice that my cadence is slower and I now have more space in not only how I'm speaking, but there's more space in my mind to decide what am I going to say next. And so I am now operating more from I'm more connected to my body. And that also allows me to be more connected to source as well. And because there's just more spaciousness. And so my system's more regulated. That busy minded stuff, that's more dysregulation. You're just reacting constantly. Does that make sense? Thumbs up if that makes sense. All right. Awesome. I did it. So, okay. So our nervous systems are designed to keep us safe. And so in our society, we're natural. Most of us are in a safe place. Most of us are not in a war zone or anything, right? Our day-to-day needs are met and all the things. However, our nervous system still thinks that we are not necessarily safe. And so that's part of the regulation piece is we need to tell our bodies that we are safe. And by being regulated, our body is like, oh, okay, I must be safe because she is able to, or he or they are able to take time and think. Obviously, there's not a bear coming after me because their heart rate's down, they're breathing slowly. I'm obviously safe. I'm obviously regulated. Dysregulated state is, oh, I got to look for this, right? So there are some different stress responses. Most of us remember probably fight or flight and that it's fight or flight. There are new found ways of being dysregulated. So when we know, most of us probably know fight or flight when you either fight something because you don't feel safe or you just leave, you escape, right? The new ones are freeze, where you actually escape in your mind to feel safe. That's your coping mechanism. And that's something a lot of us do when we scroll through Instagram and Facebook. We are actually becoming dysregulated when we do that, unless we do it with intention. You can absolutely be on those things and be on the computer and with intention and be regulated. So that is a thing. However, a lot of times when you just find yourself scrolling, that's actually you dissociating from whatever. So that's an interesting thing. And then another new response is called the fawn response, and that's the people pleaser. That is actually a stress response. We want to keep ourselves safe by pleasing somebody else. And a lot of times we've been taught that, in fact, that's the good girl, the good boy. You're going to please the parents, please the teacher. We're actually teaching people to be dysregulated when we do that, because that is a stress response to please people. So, any questions about that? Because I know those are some new pieces. And I know I jump around a little bit. Okay, so when our nervous systems are, I feel like I'm missing something somewhere. Ugh. I'm missing a word that I'm looking for. Okay, so with the nervous system, we come in with stuff for our nervous system. So actually in our DNA, when we are first born, first conceived, we receive all these pictures in our DNA of ancestral trauma. So that's already like downloaded into our bodies, is this trauma. Then we also get, so these are, what is the word? I'm just going to talk through them because I think you'll just get the gist of it. So I feel like, so first of all, I know trauma is the inability to fully process an experience or to be able to meet the need in that experience in time. This is really important because a lot of times people think of trauma as that one singular event that somebody had in their life. Well, yeah, that's like when you hold down your camera phone and you take a blast, you get like 100 pictures. That would be a big T trauma, right? That's a whole bunch of pictures all at once. However, there's these little T traumas, and they are as important as big T traumas, because now what you have taken is all these events, you take a snapshot of all these events where your needs weren't met for whatever reason, right? It doesn't matter what the reason. Your need wasn't met. Your body takes a snapshot of that and it stores it somewhere inside your body. And that's based on The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk and his research, and Peter Levine. Yeah, so that's huge. And yes, so those events that build up over time. So that's like, so now we have our photo album full of ancestral trauma that we have no control over. We have a photo album of big T trauma. Some of us, not all of us. All of us, I think, have little T traumas. There's always things that we have no control over, that we didn't fully digest. And, that's why therapy is good. And I'll talk about some other things that help dump some of this stuff. And then another piece is collective trauma. This is another big one that doesn't get a lot of news. When we watch something on TV, our body does not realize that it is not us. If it looks like us, our body is like, hey, that's me, and it stores that information. So if you're watching the wars overseas, our bodies are actually recording those inside it if it thinks that is like us. So that's huge, because your body is storing all of this all in that photo library in the cells, right? And so my goal is to help you find ways to dump these pictures. Yeah, right. You have the delete in your phone to get rid of all these pictures. Well, we can do that too. We don't have to hold on to all of this stuff. we can dump it through breath work, through sound healing, through meditation is another big one that allows you to dump. Forgiveness is a huge one. I'm sure many of you know the different forgiveness practices. That is huge. Just forgiving yourself, not forgiving others, forgiving yourself for every mistake ever made. Like I'd say that every single night. I write it down. Every single night, I forgive myself for every single mistake I've ever made and give it to God every single day. And that has been transformational for me. So that brings us to, yeah, we want to increase our capacity to be able to hold space for people. So one way is to dump or transmute all these pictures of all the trauma that we've kind of uploaded into our bodies, and also filling our cups with things that bring us joy and gratitude practice. So our nervous system is like our thermostat, and it tells us it is our capacity to stay in a regulated state. How is everybody doing so far? I feel like that was a lot of information in kind of a windy roadway. Okay, so I would like to just invite you to all take a nice deep breath in and just clear. And inviting you to just place your feet on the floor and taking another nice deep breath in and out. Beautiful, because I'm just about done. So this gets to the point where how is our nervous system impacting others? It's through mirror neurons. So it is, as leaders, it is so vital for us to have a regulated nervous system, be in a calm receiving state as much as possible, because other people, and we do this too, everyone has mirror neurons. It's why modeling works so well for kids. Kids learn by modeling. In fact, a lot of times we get really frustrated because we'll tell them to do something, but then they actually do the thing how we're doing it, right? It's because of those mirror neurons. They're learning from just watching and observing. And so our nervous systems are the same way. Our nervous systems are constantly checking the field to see, are we safe, right? And so as leaders, if our bodies are not in a regulated state, other people feel us as being unsafe, right? When we're in a dysregulated state, we no longer can provide that safety that others may be looking for, especially if we're leaders and we're holding space for others. I don't really have time for example, but I've been seeing this a lot with my kids as I've been doing the work and working on myself and increasing my capacity for my nervous system. I have not done anything with my kids. I've not told them how to do any meditating or anything, but because they're seeing me do things, their bodies are actually starting to mirror mine, and they're starting to mirror my habits and all those things. And so their nervous systems are actually having more capacity just because they're mirroring my more regulated state. Yeah. So it's really, really powerful work when you are able to stay regulated. However, it's hard. It's hard work to stay regulated in this day and age. It can be so hard. It's both. It can be really hard and it's fairly easy to do, right? We just have to find intention and be like, oh yeah, this is actually something that's important for me to do. It has big payoffs in the long run. So yes, I do want to do that. right? I started with 5 minutes a day. 5 years ago, I am now up to 2 hours a day. Yeah, I'm up to about 2 hours a day between meditation, qigong, breath work, and some tapping. And I do a lot. Did I mention I've had quite a bit of trauma in my life? So I'm doing a lot of trauma dumping, let me tell you. So yeah, about 2 hours a day I spend working on myself, and it pays off so much. I have much more clearer thoughts, and yeah, and clearer decision making. I don't tend to be as reactive, even when my kids are screaming. I am able to kind of hold space for the screaming, and they finish. And now it used to be an hour of screams. She is down to, oh, I think we're down to 3 minutes. And that's huge. And that's just been through my work. I'm working on myself. So you can see how powerful that can be for your parishioners that are around you all the time, or whoever you're working with as leaders. So before we go to breakout, I do want to share just a few really quick, easy things that you can do that take like less than a few minutes. So the first one that is super simple is to put on some soothing music and just breathe in nice and deep. And that's probably one you already know, but sometimes it's nice to like, oh yeah, that's right. That's something I can do. Another one, which is really good, actually, we tend to do it anyway, is like when we're cold, we do this soothing touch that actually tells your body, hey, I'm safe. Oh, she's touching me. So you can just do that. If you're not in a space where that is like available, what another thing I do, there we go, is you will take your thumb and you just rub it along the fingertips and taking nice deep breaths in as you do that. And that just can really help kind of regulate yourself very quickly. And you can do that almost anywhere. That one I really like. I use that a lot in the cafeteria of 150 loud kiddos. So that's one. And this is my other favorite. It's called a crown pull. And this one helps provide more space. Oh, here, actually, I'm gonna look it up. I made sure I put a note card in this one. All right, so the crown pull, it calms your nervous system, releases mental congestion, refreshes your thinking ability, and opens you to higher inspiration. So that's the crown pull. And that's from this book, Energy Medicine. So I use a lot of energy work with what I do. So all you do is you take your hands and place them in the center of your forehead. If you don't want to touch your skin, you can easily just hover, but I really enjoy the touch. And so you just place your hands together, and then you're going to draw your fingers to your ears. It's nice and slow. And then flick it off. And then you go up to where the hairline is, and you're going to do it again. Breathing in, drawing the energy down to your ears, past your ears, and then flick off. Yeah. And then a little bit further back, pull the energy down. And you might feel like a tingling sensation. You might feel nothing at all. I feel a lot of tingling as space is kind of opened up. Now back, I'm going to go back here. Same thing, pull down to your ears. And then click off. Oops, I'll stay around. And then to the center of your head, pull, click off, down to like where the hairline meets down here. Same thing, pull, and click off. And then I love to end by just rubbing down my neck and shoulders. So that's partly qigong too. And I usually do that twice, and that feels really nice. When you feel like you're like, oh, need some clarity, that's a really nice one to use. I talk a lot, you guys. Alrighty, so I know we have breakout sessions, and so I would love for you to discuss how you can find space daily for nourishing your nervous system, and maybe what things work for you that are short. So like one would be to set a timer every hour to simply pause and be grateful for whatever comes to mind in that moment. And it can be small, right? It can be grateful that there's air to breathe. But just having that intention. So that would be one. So how's that feel?
That's great. Thank you so much for getting us started today. I'm going to send us all out into breakout rooms. You should be invited momentarily. And if you have any trouble, just unmute and let me know, and I'll help you get to a breakout room.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Jane, you had the nicest smile on your face when you popped back in. I love it.
Well, she just let me do all the talking. What can I say?
Heather's a
She
wonderful
showed me
woman.
some different one, you know.
Oh,
I was telling her I'm proprioceptive, so these ones where you're doing touch and things like that are, to me, that's the way I learn, that's the way I think, that's the way I do stuff.
okay. Well, welcome back to the space, everyone. Pastor Jane was just sharing how this connected with her well. And so, as is our habit, keeping the confidence of your small group buddies, I'd love to hear what bubbled up for you. What action steps may have developed for you from processing this information? What did you learn about yourself?
I think I heard we all agreed it's tough to do during the middle of the day, but it's probably when we need to do it most.
Oh, so the follow-up coaching question, Wendy, is what do we do about that?
Yeah, well, we talked about that came up too. Yeah, you can set an alarm, but maybe it's going off in the middle of a pastoral conversation, because you never know what's gonna, what phone call is gonna bring what, or what knock at the door is gonna bring what.
Yeah, yeah. So figuring out a game plan around that obstacle, right?
Yeah.
Putting your phone on vibrate instead of sound, and putting it on recurring. So if at 2 o'clock it doesn't work, well, when it happens again at 3:30, it will, or whatever your rhythm is. Excellent.
I think a big piece to this too is how do we begin our days in ways in which we are charged, we are energetically prepared to navigate life. And so if we have our batteries charged, in a sense, through this practice, then we're much more able to navigate when we get hijacked. So.
Excellent insight, Tammy. I mean, all of us right now are maybe replaying the day that we realized our phone didn't charge overnight, and I have a busy day and I'm not going to be near a charging plug. Now what? And the difference that makes. So if we aren't taking that concerted time in the morning, how does that impact our day? How about one more sharing about a theme or a learning?
We also had some dialogue about the worship experience and helping congregation and finding ways throughout the time to connect better with God, using all our senses, being mindful of things like silence during worship or movement, and maybe not just the typical reading and responding, but inviting really that connections in other senses and in other ways, and really moving along and helping people to hear God from this kind of work more deeply embedded in how we plan worship. Anyway, big conversation. Thank y'all.
Big conversation, more to come. We hope that Heather will join us again. I feel like there's this gigantic opportunity, and we truly have taken this tiny, tiny, tiny slice of what's possible. So Heather, we look forward to having you back, and we will publish, friends, ways for you to connect with Heather so you can do more of this work individually with her. Maybe connect with Heather to have her come and do a workshop in your community. The possibilities with Spirit Always are endless. So friends, thank you for your time and attention. And dear Heather, thank you for learning about this and sharing it with us. And who knew that our nervous systems could impact those around us so hugely? And we want to do more of this work for our health and the health of those around us. Friends, we look forward to having you back again next week. Our guest speakers will be our beloved Deacon Tammy Devine and beloved Reverend Brenda Smith, talking about another component in our preparation for National Day of Prayer. And Tammy, the topic is related to race relations?
It is.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
And we look forward to that. So friends, as you leave this space, please know that you are seen, you are valued, and you indeed are loved. It's always wonderful to be with you. Heather, thank you again. God bless you, friends. See you next week.